Hello friends, it's yet again time to sacrifice sleep in the name of reading. Hello friends, I'm Rosa. Welcome to the channel. I'm doing my monthly readathon, 24-hour readathon, and this is my 5th one or something, I think, so we're kind of like in a groove by now. I kind of know what to expect in terms of how tired I'm gonna get. I feel like I've planned my TBR for this month so that I won't have like too many pages as well. I have a good mix. It's 3 books. There's not really much of a mix to it, but you know, it's fine. I have a good mix of fantasy, contemporary, adult, young adult. So actually most of it is young adult. It's fine. But these are the books that I want to read this time. So let's get you introduced to them. I just realized there's girl in 2 of the titles. Random. First off, I want to read Girl, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashardoust. I still don't know how to pronounce her last name. Then, on my TBR, I also got The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie Oh. This was my book club's secondary pick for May, so if you want to check out my book club, by the way, there's a link to it in the pinned comment. I'm so excited for this, like extremely excited for this. People have been saying very lovely things about this book, so I think it's gonna be a very good time. And I also have an adult contemporary romance, and that is All Your Perfects by Collee Hoover, which I'm expecting to break me down at some point. So I'll probably read this while I'm having an existential crisis, because I'll be lying in my bed at like 11 AM without sleeping. And I'm expecting this to hit like a brick. And if I manage all of that, I am currently also reading Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. This is the second book, or it's a sequel to Strange the Dreamer. I'm only about 40 pages into it, but in case I got some time, this is what I'm gonna get into once I have finished these 3. So that is basically this readathon's TBR. But as per usual, if I suddenly don't feel like reading one of them, I will be swapping them out with something else, because don't read books that you just don't feel like reading. It's not worth it. But still got a little bit of time. We're gonna start this readathon at 11. It's currently 20. You guys don't understand that. I was about to say like 24-hour for. It's fine. It's 10:47, not 22:47. So I am gonna finish watching a true crime video, and then I am probably gonna get started with, I think, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. I think that's a good one to get started with. Yeah, let's do that. Also because I'm just like, I want to read this so bad. I'm so excited. So we're in for a good readathon. I hope you get your snacks ready and get settled and prepare yourselves for some book rants, because oh boy, are there gonna be some. So, small reading update on The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. It's very lovely, it's very fast-paced, it's just kind of thrown directly into it, but I like to do a little, not necessarily like a summary, but say what the book is about. Well, I guess it's a summary. After I've at least read a bit of it. So, we're following Mina, whose brother's beloved is called Shimchung, and they live in they live in a village that has been ravaged by storms. And they believe that the sea god is angry with them, so every year they've been sacrificing a maiden in the city, village, whatever, town, I don't know. And this year it's supposed to be Shimchung, and everyone thinks that she's the one who's gonna break this curse thing and like cause the sea god to not be mad with them anymore. But Mina feels so sorry for her brother Yoon, so she ends up taking Shimchung's place. So she ends up jumping into the ocean, the waters where the sea god is supposed to live, and ends up in the spirit realm where she bumps into some other people, and now she's kind of getting help from this guy that she meets, and there's a whole situation there, and she's basically, her goal is to wake up the sea god. Yeah, and cause these, or get these storms to stop. So, but it's lovely, it's very cute and fast-paced, which is very nice for a standalone young adult book. So having a good time with it. Also my edition, I don't think I said that before, but it's the Fairy Loot one. I don't usually like to read, what's it called? Special editions, but making an exception for this one, I suppose. I'm being very careful with it. I got my book jacket on it and stuff. This is Smaug. He's lovely. Smaug and his treasures. So, but I'm halfway through it, about halfway through it. I have a couple of hours left of reading, kind of breezing through it. I took a short break just now, just to not lie on the couch for too long, but continuing on with it. So having a good time, fully enjoying it. And I will update you when I'm done. So hold on. Okay. I finished The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. It's almost 5 a.m. I'm getting to a point where I'm a little bit tired, so excuse me for probably sounding a little bit ranty. This was really cute, very whimsical. I feel like it was nicely written, but again, I'm not the best at commenting on that sort of thing. Like, English is not my first language. I feel like I'm not qualified to speak on it. But at least it didn't feel choppy, it felt very flowy to me. As for the story, there were certain parts that I was a little bit confused about, and I don't know if it's because I've missed something while just, I don't know, drifting, you know, drifting off a little bit. Not falling asleep, but just like my mind would just go somewhere else for a little bit. It does happen sometimes. So I don't know if I've missed some important moments or reasons for stuff happening in this book. It might just be that, but there were certain things to the story where I was like, why does this keep happening? I don't want to get too specific because I don't want to spoil anything for those of you who are interested in reading it and just don't, like, you want to be surprised all the time, so I don't want to ruin anything for you, but definitely certain parts to it that were a little bit confusing, I would say. And I'm not usually one to be confused by fantasy books either. I feel like I pick up on, unless they're just not very well written, I feel like I pick up on, like, you know, fantasy stuff pretty quickly. But it also wasn't the world building that was an issue, it was a certain thing that kept happening. I was just like, why? But speaking of the world, it was, I mean, I was a little bit like, it's in the synopsis, she ends up in the spirit realm. Kind of confused what the spirit realm really looks like and what's going on there, but you are introduced to different areas of the spirit realm. You're introduced to different gods and goddesses and all that stuff. I love, like, I was very into mythology, especially Greek mythology when I was a kid, so I love this whole idea of having different gods for different areas, or with like different expertise, if you will. So it was a little bit funny to see some of that in this as well. But I will also say that it was a little bit, but it's also a shorter book, so it's like, it's limited what you can do with 320 pages. But while there was not necessarily like an enemies to lovers situation, it was definitely kind of that, but not fully. But I feel like the love twist happened very quickly, and I'm not much for like insta love. It's just not. That's why I like these like very long drawn romance books, because they're just a little bit more realistic. I mean, sure, there are people out there that just fall head over heels very quickly, but I feel like in general it takes people a little bit to get there, and it was a little bit quick. But it was cute, could definitely recommend it. Also, would highly recommend reading that in one sitting, because it really did not take me that long. I think it took 4.5 hours total, something like that. So 4.5, 5 hours, and I kept drifting off now and then. So I had to reread certain passages and stuff. But I would say 4.5, 5 for me in my speed without taking breaks, or maybe with like toilet breaks or whatever. So, but I have had to just walk around the apartment for a little bit. I cannot stand lying down for too long. I need to just, it's also not healthy, so I need to get up and to like walk around, get a snack, go rest my eyes like by watching a video instead, so my eyes don't go like all the time. But could definitely recommend reading that in either one sitting or just in one day. So anyway, what is next? I'm gonna be watching one video just to take a short break, and then I think I'm gonna go into All Your Perfects by Collee Hoover, which I don't really know what's about either, but I think we follow 2 different timelines, and there's something about a married couple, so it's probably like where they are now, and I don't think they're doing too good in the now, and then also how they meet in the past. I think that's what it's about, but I'll get back to you on that once I read a little bit of it. I like to mostly not know anything before I go into books, or like at least not know too much before I start reading them, because I just want to learn everything once I start. I don't know, it's a thing, it's fine. So I think that's what we're gonna do next. Yeah, it's adult contemporary time. Oh, romance, obviously. It's heartbreak time, that's what it is. Breakfast champions! I mean, it's 2:30, but details. Hold on, let me adjust. So it's 2:30. I have 8.5 hours left of the readathon, and I've finished All Your Perfects. I had to take a 2-hour nap because I flushed my ear, and I know that sounds weird. Let's not get into it because you guys don't want to hear about it anyway. It's fine, I can't speak as well. We're moving past that. But I had to flush my ear, ended up with a slight case of vertigo. That happens sometime, or it can happen sometime when you put like too much water in your ear, I suppose. I flush it with one of these like little things that spray out water. It's fine. So I had to go take a nap. Took a 2-hour one. I'm good now, a little bit refreshed. Still have 8.5 hours left of the readathon, and before I took a nap, I also finished All Your Perfects. Did I just start and finish a whole book about pregnancy? Yes. And that should be considered a miracle because I don't like to read about pregnancy. It's not really a spoiler per se. It's mentioned very, very early on in the book, but the couple here, the reason that they're having issues in present day is because of infertility. So I've also read that elsewhere. I think it's a thing that's out there. It's known, even though it's not on the back of the book. But anyway, I kind of forgot going into it, I'm not gonna lie. So figuring out that it was all gonna be about pregnancy is just, it's something that, like, there's a lot of things when I read books that I can relate to, but that thing I just cannot, which is part of the reason I don't really enjoy reading about it. On top of that, we have another situation that I just hate with my whole being. I just hate it. I don't want to read about it. I get so angry whenever something like that happens in my books. I just hate it. Don't want to say what that is because we're not spoiling anything here. And one of my least favorite tropes ever, miscommunication. So overall, this was a little bit of a frustrating read to me, I'm not gonna lie. I think in the end, it kind of hit me that maybe it was actually healthy for me to read, frustrating or not. I don't know, I feel like it's kind of like the situation with It Ends With Us. I was having issues, like, there were things in that book as well that I don't enjoy reading about, but I think on some level, it's actually healthy for me to read it. So, because I also don't think that these books are problematic in any way. It might just be my stand on it, but it could be different if, I don't know, you're dealing with infertility, so you might look at it in a different perspective than I am. I mean, it wasn't bad, just slightly frustrating at times, but it's not because of her writing, most definitely not, because I do really enjoy Collee Hoover's writing. Just some of the things in the book that were a little bit frustrating. My apartment has been like warmed up over the past 2 hours. It feels like a sauna in here. Also just made bacon, so it's like, that just makes it worse. But anyway, so the last book should actually be a breeze to go through. I can't really tell you what it's about too much, but Girl, Serpent, Thorn. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read until I feel like I have a synopsis for you, and then I'm gonna let you know, because I don't want to read the synopsis. I don't want to read the inside of the book here. I just don't. Something about a girl who's cursed. I think she has a deadly touch. Might be some like poison. Not me trying to figure out what's on the cover when the title literally is Girl, Serpent, Thorn. So we have some roses with thorns and a serpent. There's no girl on the cover though, I'm just saying. Well, I don't know if the snakes are female. It's up for interpretation, I suppose. I love that cover so much. Not really like a big fan of white covers in general, but she's beautiful. Like, she's really, really beautiful. And it goes from like white to a very pale green at the bottom. Actually stunning. I know there's a special edition as well. I think it might be Fairy Loot, but it could also be Owl Crate. And they turned the book, I think it was pink, and it's so, so cute. But anyway, that's what we're reading now. So 2 down, 1 to go. And if I manage not to have issues staying awake, we should be finishing this in like 6 hours max. So should be a fast-ish read, I think. So we'll see if I can do something else with my remaining hours once I'm finished with this. But for now, bacon and eggs. So I'm so hungry. So I have a reading update, finally. I'm about, I think 120 pages, almost 130 pages into Serpent, Thorn. I've not done the synopsis update, but here you go. So we follow a girl. She's a princess. She has 2 brothers, and she, close to her birth, was cursed with, like, I don't want to call it an ability, but basically when she touches people, or I believe things too, or just like beings, they can die. So the book is about her wanting to lift this curse, because obviously that doesn't sound like a very nice curse to be living with. I feel like you'd be feeling super isolated all the time if you literally could not touch anyone. So I understand that, I respect it, I stand by it, but that's basically what this is about. Now, I will say, I'm happy that I'm doing this rant right now. I just slapped my book. I don't know if you heard that, but anyway. But I'm happy that I'm doing this rant right now because this is very insta-lovey, is all I'm gonna say. And I'm having a hard time with it, but also I think it'll make sense why it's insta-lovey. I think it'll make sense. That's all I'm gonna say in regards to that. Other than that, I don't know, for some reason the book is not really gripping me that much, which is maybe partially due to me being tired, but it could also be because the plot's not progressing as quickly as I'd like it to. I don't really know. Honestly, it could be a lot of things. I lose my ability to criticize anything in regards to like writing when I'm tired, because I literally cannot focus on both how it's written and also the story when I'm just focusing on staying awake. So I can't really speak on that, but I don't know, it doesn't feel off, but it might to some other people who are more well-rested than I am in this very moment. I feel like there's a lot of thoughts written out, and for some reason I feel like, despite being like halfway through the book, not a lot has happened. Although that might change now. So it might change. It might. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe a little bit late into the book. The book is only like 300 pages, so halfway through it, maybe it's about time. Speed things up a little bit. But anyway, so that's my reading update. I am super tired. I need a short. It's taken me like 3 hours, 3.5 to read 130 pages. Yeah, I'm tired. So what I'm gonna do is make dinner. Hopefully that'll wake me up a little bit. It's also raining outside, so it's like perfect weather for just staying indoors reading, which I also do when it's super sunny outside, but you know, I'm a redhead, that's my excuse. But I think I'm gonna make dinner, have some curry, and hopefully that'll speed things up a little bit. I'm not too impressed right now, but it might change. It might change. Yeah. So it's several hours later. We've gotten to the point of the readathon where I can't look at words anymore. My hair looks like a mess. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. My skin feels disgusting. You know, all good things. But I finished Serpent, Thorn. And I don't think I'm going to talk about this too much right now, because this is gonna turn into a very tired and very negative rant if I do. So I think I'm gonna gather my thoughts on this and talk about, like, wrap up the 3 books that I've read during this readathon tomorrow. But yeah, I didn't fully enjoy this. I don't know, it never really, I think I said this in my mid check-in, but it never really got me. I never got hooked. I felt nothing when stuff happened to the characters. I felt nothing when the characters started flirting with each other. I just felt nothing. And it's not supposed to be like that. So it just didn't really get me at any point. I'm gonna see if I can figure out overnight why that is, so that I can justify it with a reason, basically. But I don't know, that was weird. That was weird. The plan now is to go take off my makeup, go to bed, find something to quickly read before I lay down and fall asleep. I might just honestly just lie down and pass out at this point. I don't even know. But I'll check in on you guys again, hopefully tomorrow. So we'll wrap up this 24-hour readathon then. So it's the next day. It's Wednesday. And I'm here to wrap up the readathon. I feel like in general, I managed pretty well to share my thoughts about the books during the readathon, but I like to add this little like last chapter of the video, just as like a summary, if you will. So we're gonna start out with The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea because it was my first read. Why is my book askew? Is that how you say that? It's like, it's not even. Anyway, this was a very cute, lovely read, to be honest. Like, I would recommend this if you're looking for a book that you want to, or that you feel like reading in one sitting. You just like want to pick up something easy and then just sit down and just like read it all before doing something else. Am I making sense right now? This was pretty good for that. It wasn't too hard to understand, but it did feel rushed at times. So I feel like some parts of the world that she ends up being in isn't really that well explained. You do go through the different areas of the world throughout the book, but I still feel like there was something missing with descriptions and the whole system. Like suddenly she's talking about different houses and I'm like, why are there different houses? Also because there's no like descriptions at the start of the book. Usually if you have a book with different houses that are in power and stuff, they usually have descriptions of them at the start of the book just so that you're introduced to them in a way. It makes it easier so you don't have to explain everything in text in the book, if that makes sense, but there isn't any of that, and they're not super well described in the book either. I'm still very confused about this thing that keeps happening to our lead girl. Like, why? I don't know if I just missed it in the book or if it wasn't that well explained. I'm not really sure, but that was the whole thing. But other than that, it was cute. Was it perfect? No, I did like this better than Axie Oh's other book that I've read, which is called XOXO, but that's also a young adult contemporary, which is not something that I read a lot of, just because I prefer adult contemporaries. But I liked this one a little bit better than that one. It felt more complete in a way, it felt more intricate still, but it was like this was slightly rushed at times. It could have done well with like being 50 pages thicker, maybe. Also because sometimes it felt very slow, but then sometimes it felt like most of the time it was very quick. It was very fast-paced, but that could also be a good thing, I suppose. I would just have enjoyed more explanations about this world because we don't even have a map, and yeah, no, a girl likes her maps. But it was a cute one, very good start to the readathon. Next up, I read All Your Perfects, which I don't really have anything to add to other than what I said, or aside from what I've already said. I do love Collee Hoover's books. For me in general, I do like her books. I think her writing is good. I think her characters have different facets to that. Is that how you say that? They got different sides to them, and I like that. Whenever I come across a Collee Hoover that I like a little bit less than some of her other ones, it's usually because they touch on subjects that I don't really feel like reading about. Or in the case of Slammed, for example, I just don't agree with everything that goes on in that book. But it's not because of her writing, it's because of the whole story. I hope you can distinguish between the two. In this case, it was definitely more like a subject thing. I did really enjoy reading about this couple though. I feel like the way that I was split up into two different timelines and how they sort of meet at some point, not fully but sort of meet at some point, was super interesting because you meet them in the past where they're kind of just getting to know each other and everything is like rainbows and butterflies and happy vibes, and then you meet them in the now where everything's just so sad and depressing. It was nice seeing that contrast, and at the start I was like, just give me the then chapters because I can't handle reading about the now. It makes me so sad. But then later on in the book, I just wanted to know what was going on in the now, and I'm like, I'm done with the then point of view because we get it. You're happy. Okay. But it was very interesting reading it, or reading a book like that that's split up into two different timelines and then kind of them happening at the same time. It's something that I've read in a few other books and I've enjoyed that, so this was definitely not an exception to that. I tabbed it 3 times, not because of anything specific. I think it's mainly just quotes, to be honest, or like when they're describing feelings that I can relate to, that sort of thing, or just cute things. I just read one of them. So yeah, definitely if you're looking for like something majorly depressing but happy at the same time somehow, this would be a good one. It didn't break me like I thought it maybe would, but oh my gosh, there was one moment, and I'm not gonna say what it is because it's a spoiler, but it was like, oh my gosh, no. But if anything, it just made me mad. I just got angry because like, ooh, this thing, I hate it so much and it hurt. But like I got mostly angry because that's just my reaction to it in general. I don't want to say what it is because spoilers, but if you've read the book, you probably know what I mean. Like you would probably know what I mean. Like it just like, oh my gosh, it's like a dagger right in the chest. So that was the thing, but not heartbroken. I was expecting to be heartbroken, but no, not this time. And then for the last book, Girl, Serpent, Thorn, I am still confused. I still don't really fully know how to talk about this. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Was this fast-paced or was it slow-paced? I feel like it was so repetitive as well, and like, what even happened? I think I'm confused about the characters too, and just slightly frustrated that it felt like you didn't really know any of the characters, like not really. There was insta-love, and then I'm not gonna say anything because that would be spoiling, but like insta-love, most definitely an insta-love situation. Actually, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea had a little bit of that, but not fully. This definitely felt very insta-lovey, yes. And I just don't like that. I would rather there not being a romance line or a romance plot than insta-love because it just feels so unrealistic. But like I also get why it was there, so it's a weird one to explain, and it's a weird one. It's very hard to talk about without spoiling anything. But like I get why it was there, but I don't agree with it still. Yeah. But other than that, as for the rest of the story, I think I'm mainly confused. And I'm pretty sure that it's not because I was tired, because I was still reading. I was at times reading so slowly that I was hearing the words in my head, which means that you're reading slowly. So I should have understood it and I still didn't. Maybe it was just a miss for me. It's just the first time. I feel like it's the first time that's ever happened to me, and I'm so confused how it ended up happening. But if you've read Girl, Serpent, Thorn and you have a different opinion, please let me know. Like, should I reread this at another time, not in a readathon? It's only like 300 pages, so it's a very quick read. Should I do that? Because I could do that. Maybe I'd understand it better then. I don't really fully know, but such a shame because the cover is amazing. The cover is stunning, but just had a hard time with it. I do feel like it was mainly because the story actually didn't catch me along with the characters. I didn't really feel anything for the characters, and that's a shame. For me, it's very important for the characters to not necessarily be likable, because I've definitely read about characters that I don't actually like, but I still find them funny to read about. Like, they still have something. They're still interesting. And none of the characters in this made me feel anything. So probably has something to do with that. So it didn't really grip me in any way. But yeah, that's it for this readathon. I'm counting on doing another one for June, but I don't know, things may get in the way. I have plans. It's summertime, you know, gotta get something out of that as well before it starts getting dark again. But if you enjoyed this one, stick around for the one next month. And also if you like bookish unboxings and TBR videos and wrap-up videos, I do those here as well. So if you're new and those interest you, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. And if you like this video, feel free to hit the thumbs up too. But that's all I got for you guys today, so I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye! Oh, you know.